Greetings, everyone, and welcome to day 60? Is it day 60? Day 60 after 100 days of narration challenge. Wow, I'm terrible at numbers and names and everything else, which requires me to use my brain. We are, as I've stated at the beginning of this week, we are in the middle of Stefan Gagne week, and reading from several works of his wonderful oeuvre, whatever, one of those two. And for today's particular work, which is available on pixelscapes.com, we are going to read Sailor's Demiurge, which, according to the blurb here, expanding the Slayer's mythos of gods and monsters. We meet the new generation of heroes and a new threat to the world. So again, it's a piece of fan fiction based upon Slayers, not part of the Slayers trilogy, which was Slayers Reflect, Slayers Chaos, and Slayers Rebirth, which I read 2 days before, yesterday before Anachronauts. And yeah, rather than going on and on and on and on and on, whatever, I will simply launch myself straight into the story. I will just do it. Just read the story without any more stories about other things that may distract me from doing the actual reading that I'm going to do right now from Sailor's Demiurge, book 1 of part 1 that I'm doing, that is happening right now. So were you aware that Stefan Gagne also did several other Neverwinter Nights modules, not including Elegia Aeternum? I believe there was also the sequel Elegia Excrucio. I believe that's what it's called. Which didn't have voiceover work, mainly because it had a crazy branching path system, morality branching path system that was incredibly well realized, especially for a small module like that. And he was also the author of the Penultima series, which was also really quite amazingly good module stuff. And then he was going to make modules professionally for BioWare's Neverwinter Nights engine, which was awesome until BioWare decided that they weren't going to pay for the modules that he had created, which was not great. Thanks, BioWare. You're cool like that. No, you're not cool. You made Mass Effect 3, you bastards. No, that's not right. I'd liked Mass Effect 3. Maybe not as much as I should have, but, or could have, but, you know what, yeah, whatever. Anyway, it was called Hexcoda, and pretty good stuff. I don't know any of them still run on Neverwinter Nights. If you can get it to run on Neverwinter Nights, please tell me how, so I can play them and then just do voiceovers for them for fun, because that's something that I do. I play games and I put voices to them. Anyway, Slayer's Demiurge, Book 1, Awareness, which has an author's foreword, so I'll read that first. Author's foreword. I'll try to keep brief so you can get to the story. Anime smiley face. This is not a series that starts off after Slayer's trilogy, it's after Try, branching off straight continuity. Although if you're expecting original flavor, it's not quite that either, while definitely being similar. You'll see. Those of you familiar with Trilogy know the drill. Episodes are developed live and online at the webpage, so those inclined can read the works in progress and comment. Comments I use to help shape the story. Finished copy in text format is posted to the FFML, which I'm assuming is the fanfiction mailing list, and RAAC, which would be rec.arts.anime.creative, which was a news group. God, people used news groups back then. Do you guys remember news groups? Do you guys still use news groups? You probably don't even use news groups anymore. You don't know what that is. God, that's such a long time ago. Choose your preferred method, and off we go. So that was then forward. And note, you may want to narrow your browser window for better readability, which was what I just did, actually, because I just realized, wow, there's no proper word wrap. Well, there's a word wrap there, but it's based upon the size of your window, so it's... My window was a little bit stretched too far wide, so let's squish it down a bit, shall we? To make sure that I can actually read the page without craning my neck over my microphone and trying to read past my microphone. Okay. Okay. So, part 1, or the beginning, before part 1 begins. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Lina Inverse. But you knew that already, didn't you? She is a legend, tried and true, a folk hero, a feared enemy, and a myth so widespread that Random Q Peasant is more likely to have heard her name than... Oh my god, I've forgotten how to pronounce his name. It's been such a long time since I've watched Slayers. Shabaranigdo. Is that... God damn it! Why isn't there an English name like Dark Master Lord or some silly name? No, Shabaranigdo. Shabaranigdos. I'm never going to say that right. Of course, depending on who you ask, they could react the same way as if you had said Shabaranigdo, the Demon King. Assuming you believed in Shabaranigdo, many didn't. To some, Lina robs from the rich and gives to herself, which isn't all that bad since those rich bastards deserved it anyway. To others, Lina storms in and blows everything up and takes everything not detonated. But they're all criminals, and what whining they do doesn't matter. Perhaps some proving examples are in order before the fairy tale truly begins. And now we have some fancy artwork. Fancy lettering artwork. Part 1 of 1. Part 1. I don't know how to read that. Okay. For starters, there's one sect which has a legitimate, justified reason to fear the legendary Lina Inverse. Not that the head chef at the Golden Roast side of beef roast side of meat had a Lina-oriented worry when he walked into his brand spanking new restaurant on a fateful Monday morning. This was, after all, his day to shine, to show the culinary world his art at the finest level of perfection. Sauces so sweet as to draw a bee from a flower, meat so tender to make a poet weep, and prices so low it'd blow his competition away. Yes, for one day only, grand opening, the first day, it was all you can eat. "Fire up the ovens!" the chef shouted, gesturing dramatically with a soup ladle, which wasn't as impressive as an army general's lance, but would have to do. "Bake the bread! Cook the soup! We open in minutes, and we must be ready to face the customer with a smile and an appetite. And an appetizer. Soon, my legions, we will rule the restaurant world!" Boss? Yes? What is it, Harold? It's Howard, the young, zit-faced intern said. And, sir, no disrespect. I mean, we all understand your vision for the future of culinary art, but, well, me and the others were talking. "Spit it out, Harold! A good bowl of chowder doesn't make itself, and you're on company time." We want you to take down the sign advertising all you can eat," Howard summarized. "It's bad luck." "Bad luck?" the chief overlord asked, perking an eyebrow. "You stand in the mightiest kitchen in all of Saloon, and you worry about luck? We need no luck. God is on our side. Forward, minions!" No, it's not the kitchen, Howard said. It's her. I mean, everybody who's anybody in the restaurant business knows you don't go and advertise all you can eat on opening day, because if you do, she will come. Dare not say her name and all. The head chef tapped the ladle against his leg, thinking. Then it hit him.
"What? That old wives' tale?" he asked. "Ha! Don't trouble me with such nonsense. Lina Inverse does not exist. She's just a story concocted by our rivals worldwide to scare us out of destroying them."
There was a knock at the front door.
"Ah, our first customer. I shall greet him personally,"
the chef decided, vaulting over the salad bar and dashing to the door. He opened it, the little bells jingling merrily as he did, and smiled away. And there's a bit of a page break here. 4 hours later, the little bells jingled again as the patron made her exit. The force of the door closing was too much strain for the poor, solid oak table, which splintered and snapped in half from the sheer weight of stacked empty dishes. Those dishes then shattered on the floor, adding insult to injury to financial ruin. The head chef, circles under his eyes, a few new wrinkles to his skin, stared wide-eyed in horror. A restaurant full of patrons, all waiting for their meals, but all the food had been eaten. Eaten by that. He was ruined. The chef tore the puffy hat from his head, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it repeatedly.
"Curse you, Lina Inverse!"
Not that restaurant owners were the only ones who had something to fear from Lina Inverse. Even those of supposed pure science had a few issues with her. Elsewhere, you see, in the blackest Stygian abyss of the depravity of the soul, or at least a few miles from it, dark rites were being performed by men defiant to the will of God, skirting the edge of sanity, twisting the darkness to shape their motive into etc., etc., etc. Despite being utterly cliché, it was an impressive sight. A cabin buried a mile underground, leagues away from the nearest city of Dorata, 500 feet by 500 feet square. Extensive death traps were placed all along a near-endless maze to ensure nobody made it this far, and if they did, then the intricate series of mechanical whirling blades, spikes, razors, and projectiles set around the priceless object would kill, would crush, /kill, /vaporize, /liquefy, /solidify, /crush them all over again on sight. On top of all that, even if they did survive all that and made a grab for the cage where the treasure was held, the treasure would be destroyed before they reached it. So the would-be thief could do little but kick themselves for ever coming down here. Even the one who created these traps could never touch the artifact again. Lord Noisemaker of the dark set of alchemists couldn't have it any other way. "I don't get it," his considerably less evil apprentice said. "You set it up like the artifact gets destroyed if anybody takes it?"
Of course, lad. I've explained this to you already."
"But it still doesn't make any sense, Master. I mean, you spent 30 years making it, right?"
30 long, hard years, Lord Noisemaker said, clenching a fist. "Studying the black texts of mythology and lies until my eyes grew red and bloodshot, researching the behaviors of the genuine beast firsthand, coming close to death each time. 30 years of back-breaking effort to compile the single greatest collection of information on animals, beasts, monsters, gods, demons, and Mazaku ever seen by human eyes, embodied in a single stone shell of raw orichalcon.
Orichalcon? O-R-I-H-A-L-C-O-N. I know that's a real, quotation marks, thing. I just don't remember how to say that properly. Orichalcon. That doesn't sound right. Orichalcon? No. I'm just going to go with Orichalcon.
Orichalcon. Perfect in design and utility.
And that is the only copy, right?
Don't be daft, lad. It's not the only reference guide you copy off and sell in the...
Blah. I like to burp. That's why I do it all the time.
Don't be daft, lad. It's not the kind of reference guide you copy off and sell in the market next to farmers' almanacs.
Then why make it so nobody can use it again? Lord Noisemaker grew frustrated.
For the irony, you nitwit. Haven't I taught you anything? If you compile such a powerful codex and then ensure nobody can ever use it for the rest of time while it sits protected and just beyond reach, the little buggers will beat themselves silly in anger. The sheer amount of idiots they'll die trying to get it will be the reward in itself.
The apprentice still didn't get it. So why not put an empty copy of it up there and keep that one for your own use? It's not like anybody will ever know, eh? They'll believe it's the real thing, and it'll be ironic, like even more so, or something, yeah?
It's the principle of the matter, the Dark Alchemist scoffed. Belief is nothing compared to the reality of the world. This is thaumaturgical science, my boy, not a puppet show. Belief is not how we work. It's results that matter. The reality, the facts, and the truths. Not some flimsy, concocted lie that the yokels swear by in ignorance. Now, pack up the equipment and break out the map. I want to get home in time for a nice hot bath.
Fine, the younger alchemist said, starting to stuff various magical items into a sack. Then the universe will take it anyway. Always happens with hard-to-get-at treasure. One time, my cousin Marvin says he buried 1,000 gold on a desert island, and it turned up gone the next... Lord Noisemaker... Why did I get trouble with that just then? Lord Noisemaker bopped the apprentice over the head with his ceremonial staff with a knob at the end of it. That's a long sentence, and I screwed it up. Lord Noisemaker bopped the apprentice over the head with a ceremonial staff with a knob at the end of it. And it's on and not at the end. Damn it. Lord Noisemaker bopped the apprentice over the head with a ceremonial staff. Lord Noisemaker bopped the apprentice over the head with a ceremonial staff with a knob on the end of it.
What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? He roared. Don't go spreading that superstitious nonsense around here.
Try that one again.
Don't go spreading that superstitious nonsense around here. Linear inverse doesn't exist. No simple girl could defeat Shaburanigdo.
Shaburanigdo.
No simple girl could defeat Shaburanigdo, as they say she has, nor could she find the clear Bible or beat the demon beast Stefan or anything of that sort. And even if she did exist, she'd never succeed in getting it out of my traps. No mortal Gen.
Gen? Can. I don't know where Gen came from. I'm sorry.
No mortal can.
So, where'd it go then? At the center of the 5,000 linked death traps was a suspiciously empty cage where the world's most accurate codex arcanum once sat. The heavy door to the cavern quietly latched shut, as if someone had just exited. To say there was an awkward pause would be a grand understatement.
That doesn't prove anything,
Lord Noisemaker noisily shouted.
Anybody could have done that. We didn't see anything after all. Now let's go.
Didn't you say no mortal could...
Shut up, boy, and resume packing. I've had a long day.
What about the 30 years of backbreaking? And the master did hit his pupil on the head, and he was enlightened. And now we get to the second part. Well, more stuff here. As interesting as these examples are, historical types, when you mention the history of Lina Inverse to them, will cite one particular location as the nexus of her mythology. The most proving explanation for her power, her rise to fame, her glory. It was the country of her birth. And I don't know how to pronounce that word. Zephilia. Zephilia? Z-E-F-I-E-L-I-A. Zephilia. Zephilia. That sounds nice. I think that sounds natural. It was the country of her birth. Zephilia. There are several reasons for this. First, the concentration of magic floating in the astral plane or through the ethereal void or the ley lines, depending on what school of magic you ascribe to, depending on what school of magic you ascribe to, is unusually high. Second, the amount of warriors, crusaders, villains, and mad wizards produced by Zephalia, and mad wizards produced by Zephalia each year rivals their second most profitable industry, grapes of wrath. In that country, the men are tough, the women are arguably tougher, the lawyers have silver tongues, sometimes literally. And the bandits are several degrees of difficulty higher than your average thug. People who live and work here usually have a higher importance in the world and get involved in history with unnerving frequency. It's a land of heroes and anti-heroes. So if you were to take a look at a scene unfolding there, you could see 15 disreputable people of forcible monetary real I see what you're doing there, but it's fun. It's fun, you know? It's fun in a way, but it's difficult. It's difficult and fun. It's like, yes, I want to say this. It's so nice. So, if you were to take a look at a scene unfolding there, you would see 15 disreputable people of forcible monetary reallocation circled, oh god, those R's always get me, circled around a young girl. Alright, we did that once. Let's try it again, only in a single go, rather than broken up like that. So, if you were to take a look at a scene unfolding there, you would see 15 disreputable people of forcible monetary reallocation circled around a young girl. That was pretty good. We'll just keep going. A typical mugging. Although the amount of trees that have been slashed clean through, scorched by green flames, some of which were still burning, there's no word in there, some of which still burn. I think there is meant to be a word in there. Some of which still burning. Some of which were still burning. Yeah, some of which were still burning, and a few stray body parts would suggest that this mugging probably had a bit more foreplay than you'd normally see in your typical highway robbing. History sat up and took notice. This is where things really started. The bandit leader, however, made no note of anything special because sorry, I'm just trying to see how that sentence flows. The bandit leader, however, made no note of anything special because nothing was. An average fight, he commented, keeping his longsword's tip pressed to the girl's throat. At least I got some exercise. But you, missy, don't know who you're dealing with. I'm wanted in 6.5 countries. We're some bad dudes, or at least extremely unkind. And I've been in this business longer than you've been breathing air. But enough of my long-winded monologue. You got something to say before we continue to do unpleasant things? The young girl, wearing a mishmash of armor, her halberd, 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 halberd. I never know how to say that word. H-A-L-B-E-R-T. It's a halberd, 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 halberd. They both sound right, but only one of them is right. Or are both of them right? I don't really know. We'll pick one and stick with it anyway. The young girl, wearing a mishmash of armor, her halberd knocked aside, glared up at him. You just got the jump on me, is all. Roy Balderdash, you cowardly dog. I'll be back to collect the bounty on your head next time we meet. Forsooth, you haven't seen the last of—
No, no, no.
Roy, the Bandit King, groaned, breaking out of his tough guy routine in genuine irritation.
Look, this isn't some backwards dickwater country where knights run around saying, "What ho!" and "Forsooth," okay? You live in Zophelia, woman. Show some pride. Cliché dialogue isn't going to cut the mustard around here. Now, try it again.
Huh?
Your taunt,
the bandit ordered, nudging with a sword point.
Put some more originality into it. I can't take you seriously if you're going to act like some brain doobie. Once more, with feeling.
A large, visible sweat drop slid down the back of the girl's head. I'm new at this, okay? I mean, it's my third quest, and I'd be on more of them if I didn't have to sneak out of the house to—
Taunt, damn you!
You fight like a cow, she blurted. Roy Balderdash, wanted in 6.5 countries, groaned, letting down his sword point.
It's no good. I'm sorry. Look, kid, you're not cut out for adventuring, okay? Go home to mommy and daddy, play with your dolls, or at the very least, pick on someone lower in the pecking order. There's only one mercenary who's ever gotten the best of us. Who's ever gotten the best of me, years ago. And you're nowhere near her level. Boys, we're out of here.
The whole gang turned to go, annoyed at the waste of the time. The young would-be mercenary scowled, scooping up the customized long-staff blade, gesturing dramatically with it to the leader. Stop treating me like a kid, and I'll have you know Stop treating me like a kid, and I'll have you know I have very important parents. I'll train harder, and when In a swift snap of a muscled arm, the weapon went from pointing dramatically to casually slung over the back of the Bandit King.
I think it'd be best for everybody if we took this, he said frankly. You'd probably cut your own arm off with it at the rate you're going. Yeah, and I can't honestly abide by that.
Hey, wait, I made that, she protested, losing her bravado. It's mine!
Yeah, tell it to the judge, Roy suggested, walking off calmly.
The adventuress fumed, turned red, stomped her foot, and said the first thing that occurred to her, a traditional protest against folk who had just robbed you. I hope Lina Inverse gets you! The bandit spun around, shaking the halberd angrily.
You think that scares me? He shouted,
losing the cool he had previously.
You think Lina Inverse scares me? Nobody's seen Lina Inverse in these spots for years. No man, no woman, no monster, no fairy tales scare me. Now go home!
Losing her nerve, the young girl ran off. After a long pause and with a prolonged sigh, Roy draped the weapon over his shoulder again.
Kids today, no respect for their elders, I tell you. Come on, let's book.
A shadow watched from the tree line as the bandits exited stage left. All right, I think that's a good place to stop before things get interesting. So if you want to know more, you're gonna have to read the rest. And no. You will not be. You must read the rest. Yes. The no part was for me reading out the rest for you. I could do that, but I think I'm going to do that for something else. Being written by Stefan, Possibly. Who knows? Anyway, that was day 60 of the 100 Days of Narration Challenge. And that was Slayer's Demiurge by Stefan Gagne. And I hope you enjoyed that. And return to me tomorrow to this place, to this wonderful place, where I will once again read another piece of work by Stefan Gagne, because this is Stefan Gagne week. And as I've mentioned before, all this is available on pixelscapes.com. So if you want to read any of the works that I've mentioned here in the past week, then go to that website, pixelscapes.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.